Yes, you read that title correctly. The inside of all houses in Final Fantasy XIV got bigger in patch 7.1, and that is thanks to the new interior design system and the minimalist style skin that came with it. And while we all knew that the skin would remove the pillars from houses, the skin came with a few surprises that we weren't expecting. And those surprises resulted in more square footage for every single home and some exciting possibilities for future designs to come in later patches. So that's what I'm going to go over in depth today, what the minimalist style interior is for and what it brings to the table for each house size, starting with our trusty smalls. So no better way to start this than with a simple before and after. So here's what the ground floor of a small house looks like when using one of the default skins. In this case, I'm using a Glade interior. And here is what it looks like with the minimalist style. Now, the obvious change is that the pillars are gone and the wood tones are replaced with a lot of stark white. And with the pillars being gone, that alone reclaims quite a bit of space. But there's two key areas on a small house's ground floor that really makes a difference, and that's the north wall. If you've watched any of my videos before, you've probably heard me rant a bit about how difficult it is to design around the FC workshop door and the doorway to the stairs. Depending on which district your house is in, it was kind of impossible to create anything that required too much depth because the pillars would get in the way. And to hide them, you had to place furniture right up against the doorway's molding, which left very little room for anything. But now with the minimalist style skin, there's actually a decent chunk of space here. Nothing groundbreaking, but now we can build custom windows or murals or just a lot of things along the north wall with just a little less hassle, which I will gladly take. The minimalist style interior is also far more beautiful in person than it was in the live letter screenshots. Like, I don't know about you, but when they said it was kind of playing into the whole sad millennial gray aesthetic in the live letter, I agreed with them. It really actually looked kind of boring. But it's far more beautiful in person in game. The lower panels or wainscoting or chain railing, depending on where you're from, those actually have some nice texture to them. And the custom mold around the chamber doors for the FC chambers is actually a really nice touch. Unfortunately, that little molding doesn't extend to elements the player can choose, like your exterior windows and your front door. So that's a shame. If you want a similar look for those, if you plan on just building with the in-game architecture in mind, you're gonna be forced to dye those textures white. And even then, odds are they won't match. What is Square Enix's weird obsession with not letting anything match in this game? Anyway, color matching aside, the paneling pairs beautifully with some of the more bold wallpapers in the game. My personal favorite so far is the Storm Blue wallpaper. I love how nice and crisp and rich it looks with that contrast, and that would play very well to some coastal styles if that's a thing that you would be interested in. I do wish that the top panels weren't there so that the wallpaper could extend to the ceiling, but I do understand kind of why they're there. That's where the panels are on the other housing styles, so that might actually just be a limitation. And I wish that we could somehow dye all the white because it's white. It's a lot of heckin' white. This is house, the flashbang interior style. But for now, if you're into this kind of aesthetic and you like working with the in-game architecture, this saves a lot of item slots you would need to recreate these walls yourself. Hopefully, Square Enix will give us a blank minimalist partition in the future because why didn't they give us one? Again, Square Enix, what is your weird obsession with never letting anything match? Anyway, if we head down to the basement, we can see where the real square footage was gained for small houses. Once more, here's the before with the default Glade skin. And then we're going to transition into the after with the minimalist one. go down the stairs finally. Immediately, the main thing you're gonna notice is that the stairs are open. We can actually get under the stairs, we can place items under the stairs, no more having to glitch a bed into a wall and hope that we don't fall into the void, because that was something I warned about in my video explaining housing glitches, was that for small houses to get under the stairs, it was a bit of a risk on top of being a total complete pain in the butt. Now we don't have to. We can just put things under the stairs with ease, and that alone adds so much room in the basement. I love it. And the walls will be able to go real close with this staircase. If you try to put things on top of the staircase, you're still gonna get a bit of a storage placement issue, and you're gonna have to glitch to do that. But for just placing things on the actual basement floor, it's so much easier now. It's just so nice. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. But what's got me even more excited is the change for medium houses. If you have a medium house, you win the most with patch 7.1 because you get so much space. And this is the change that actually has me the most excited for future skins, because remember, from the live letter, Yoshi P insinuated that they wanted to create more housing styles in the future, and potentially some you could earn or craft or buy. And so before I get a little even more ahead of myself, here is the before of a default goblet medium. And one of the biggest gripes about building in a medium house is the T shape. So the stairs cut off so much space in a ground floor. But now here's what it looks like with the new minimalism style. I cannot believe it. They actually moved the stairs. The stairs are flush against the door. Look at this before and after. We get so much space back. Like, just using the Oasis tiles as a measurement, we get 3 columns of tiles back for the ground floor. That is insane. And the complete layout for the stairs changes too. It's no longer that awkward zigzag that gave us that hole by the front door you couldn't do anything with. Now it's just a smooth progression up the stairs, and just like in a small, you can get under the stairs. We can place things under them. And because of the way the stairs are shaped now, if you're a fan of smooth staircases, it's going to be so much easier to build them. Obviously, you're probably not going to be using vertical partitions to make them, but we can line partitions really close to the stairs now with very little effort. And then to make the walls match on the south wall against the door, all you have to do is just get under the stairs and then storage place your partitions there, and just you have no idea how happy this makes me, because now if you want to incorporate the second floor into a design, it's so much easier to do so. Trying to do that with one of the default styles is an absolute nightmare because of how hard it is to get the partitions close to the stairway. You would have to glitch under the stairs. You have to make that little nook by the door work. All of that's gone. All that's gone. You can just use these stairs. That alone has so much hope for me. But look at this aerial shot of the space you gain just from them pushing the stairs over 3 columns towards the door. It's like you've gained another house. And that's not the only thing that's changed. The opening for the basement staircase is smaller. It doesn't feel it because it technically occupies about the same tile length. It occupies the same amount of columns, but the because the railing is so small and skinny, it takes up less space. You have more room to place things without having to worry about having to storage place glitch something. But that is genuinely not all, because the staircase to the ground floor has completely changed not only placement, but shape. You get more usable space back on the second floor too. Like, you had a bit of an L shape with the default skin, and you still have an L shape even with the new minimalist skin, but the L shape is bigger, it's fatter, there isn't nearly as much encroaching space, and I am excited, unbelievably excited for what can be done, because now we can do more complex room shapes. We can take advantage of the fact that the staircase now faces the north wall when you enter the stairs. It's now going to be a lot easier to make something like a hallway there, because we don't get light from windows when placed on the north wall. So it's usually better to use the north wall for things like just regular walls or wall art. Now it's going to make sense for that, and I can already see something like a hallway going down the entirety of the north wall, and you have enough room for like 2 bedrooms or 1 big bedroom against the south wall. And I can't wait. I genuinely cannot wait. This is fantastic. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself more than I normally do. I'm kind of going off the cuff without a script this time, just because to make sure I get this video out in time. So yeah, real Galatinia reactions today. And then finally, in the basement, the staircase is just like all the rest of them. It has this nice path that doesn't get in the way of anything. It's big enough, you can decorate under it. I can already see some really cute like sleeping nooks or reading nooks, especially when paired with the new book storytime bench that was released with this patch too. I can see hanging some little lights from the platform on the stairs, having that bench there and making it really cozy with a little rug, maybe some plants. So yeah, I'm already cooking. I'm looking forward to building something in this little nook. Now finally, large houses. Now large houses, they didn't really change all that much, but then again, they didn't need that much changing. For large houses, the biggest thing that happens is your pillars are gone, which, hallelujah, the pillars are gone. All my name days have come at once, and I know that sounds dramatic, but I have been wanting this for years. And to put into context of why this is such a big change for large houses is when we look at an aerial shot and a floor plan of a large using the default skin, the pillars create a bit of a square shape and it's weirdly offset. So regardless if you wanted to build a 1-floor complex build or if you were wanting to use as much of the house as possible, you had no choice. You had to build around the pillars. And because you had to build around the pillars, it created for really awkward wall lengths. It also created for really limiting floor plans. Like, a lot of people started building fake entrances and making the entrance, the actual in-game entrance, windows and wall art because of the strange wall proportions, and it was a lot easier to gain some control back if you basically flipped the house layout and made a fake entrance. Now you don't have to do that. Now there is absolutely nothing impeding what you can do with the ground floor of a large. I don't know when I'll be able to get to design in a large for this channel, but I am very excited for the possibilities that come with it. Now, unfortunately for large houses, because of the way the stairs are shaped, we can't get under the main stairs. You're still, if you want to build things right on those staircases, you are still going to have to use the glitch to get under them and place a futon under those main stairs. But thankfully for a large, that's a lot easier than trying to do that on a small. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about or how to do that, HG14 has a full tutorial on how to get under the stairs. So I will leave that and link in the description. Now, as for the basement and the upper floor, large houses more or less kind of stay the same. There's still some interesting, unique little features that do change. Like, for example, the counter on the second floor is very small and very, well, minimal. It plays to the skin's name. So that, and how the balcony for the little fake door on the second floor looks compared to a, say in this case, a glade skin, it's very different. So yeah, in my personal opinion, the minimalist style is an absolute dream and is going to be a dream for anyone that does complex builds in large houses. They changed the least. You gain the least amount of space in the large houses, but that one change is going to completely be a game changer. And in the coming months, we're going to see so many cool and creative designs online, and I cannot wait. Now, that being said, there are pros and cons to everything, and the skin is not perfect. I've already touched on the fact that if you prefer building with the in-game architecture and you don't like building your own rooms and walls, it's gonna be almost impossible to match the white of the paneling. Another thing is you are going to lose a lot of the character. Like, even just filming the shots for these before and afters, there is so much character and warmth and depth in the different region styles. And so if you're someone that prefers to work with the in-game styles, you are losing all of that character to work with the minimalist style instead. Now, granted, I do think that most of the people like me who are going to use this style, the minimalism skin, we're intending to build our own character and our own custom layouts anyway. But if you're not that kind of designer, you're probably not going to really want to use the skin unless this is a look you really enjoy. Now, that being said, if this is a skin you want to use and you have no idea how to do it, the process is very simple. All you have to do is stand in your yard and go into your housing menu, and there you will see a new option called Interior Design. Once you select it, you will see a menu that shows all of the styles you have available to you, and you just have to select the minimalist style. A bit of warning, it doesn't work like when you relocate a house. You must have the exact number of slots in your storage available as you have furniture items placed in your house for it to work, because in order to switch styles, everything has to go back into your house storage, which sucks a little bit, but I also understand why they have to do it that way. So make sure you're on top of your storage space. One of the biggest things that has me excited about this update is the fact that they can move the stairs. They've shown they can move the stairs, and so now the designer in me is really curious and wondering what else can they do. Like, can we get interior styles that has a big spiral staircase in the center of the house? Can we rotate the staircase? Can we get a design skin that changes where in the floor the doors are? There's so many possibilities opened up now, and I genuinely cannot wait for what Square Enix has in the future, because they did say they were planning on releasing more design styles, so we'll have to see what they're going to do with it. That said, I've yapped long enough, and I want to know what you think. Are you excited for this minimalist style? Are you going to be using it in your designs? Are you going to use it to get the housing system out of your way so that you can build what you want to build? And are there design styles you hope the dev team creates? Also, do you like this more off-the-cuff style from me? Because it's been a while since I've tried a video without a script, and I know I have a bad habit of repeating myself a lot, so if you like this more off-the-cuff, impromptu video style, please do let me know in the comments below as well. I would appreciate that. So, until next time, see you then!